Cersei finds out she can't use the mountain this week. Also, Arya makes us say her name, and Ben Affleck's still the Batman. This week, I know you're wrong. I'm Colin Buckingham, joined with Joey Skaggs, Jesse Barfield, and Mike Cole on this week's Know You're Wrong. And so to start off, this episode was completely unpredictable. Everything we've discussed so far pretty much happened, but in a completely different way than how we discussed. And we've hit a lot of random theories, and they just decided not to go any typical route at all on anything. I mean, you start off with the Hound.
That was awesome. That was one of the best entrances in the show.
I loved how he came back last week. I liked how he had his little intro this week. I did not like the discussion on the road when they were going to hang the three bad.
But see, that's another thing that was really showing about his character was, like he said before, I would have just killed all 7 of you just to take these 3. And he was even like, can I just cut off a hand?
I didn't like the dialogue between what's his face?
Cedric?
Not Cedric.
The guy with the eye patch?
Eye patch.
Yeah.
Barrick. Yes, Barrick. I didn't like the conversation initially between Barrick and the Hound because it felt like it was written by fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like the guy notching his arrow.
Right.
Like, no one stands around with an arrow notched.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got these prisoners, they're going to hang them. You don't stand around with an arrow notched because it's a pain in the butt. It was definitely didn't feel as true to the element as Game of Thrones usually does.
But I think the big important part here was to show that there's no actual there was no threat from the actual group, because we thought last week that this would start a big clash. Mm-hmm. And then you find out too that he's changed even now, where he's like, I would have just destroyed everybody and then done what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And he's humbled himself now to where he's like, all right, fine, I'll just take what you give me and we'll be fine. And they even sit around a campfire and have a social moment.
I think one of my favorite moments, though, during that, when he approaches the small group first, the first group, and you just see him in the back shot just coming up.
It's just blurry.
Yes.
He's just to me, I was like, what is that behind? I was like, oh my God, it's the Hound. It's the Hound. Oh my God. And then you see the axe, and he's just like, wow.
Head off.
I was
how bad of a deer you have it when you get a finger up your butthole and then you're decapitated.
Yeah. That's terrible.
That's the worst way to die.
Just
playing grab ass in the woods.
But see, and that's what's funny too, is he's even when he's taking out the last guy of that group, he's like, what's your last, that's what you want your last words to be? Yeah. And then he says one more thing and he's like, you're terrible at dying. It's just, that was a funny, kind of callback to his old character. And then immediately after that moment, you see how he's changing. Yeah. And it's really neat because he's I always saw him as almost like a one level kind of character.
Yeah.
And even he portrayed himself as feeling like he was stuck being that character. So I thought that was really cool.
They gave him some depth.
Yeah. And then that moment gave the other group, the guys with no...
Brothers Without Banners?
Yeah. How it even gave them a neat little feel too, where you're like, oh, they're cool enough that these guys go out and they're like, screw you messed our name up, so we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that shows that these guys are somebody you want to root for later.
It brought back my hope for Lady Stone.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
I know.
I thought
waiting for the reveal.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I saw the river. Yeah. I was like, I thought when the Hound was taking a pee, he's like, he's going to see some Stoneheart floating by.
Right.
Yeah.
I even told him earlier, I was like, there was a random shot of him, between his legs, you're seeing under him peeing into the water. I'm like, what's the significance of this? Why would they be showing this? And it was just, there was nothing.
Did a lot
and kind of let down.
directed this episode. It was written by Ben Affleck and Weiss. I forgot who directed this episode. But he did a lot of weird shots, inside the grate with the blood running down. He did a lot of shots just to be pretty.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also did a lot of shots too, like the one with the Hound where there was something blurry in the background.
Oh, yeah,
it was actually important to the shot. There was that, and there was again with Arya and that other chick. She walked up behind him.
She's hiding in the back.
Yeah, it happens 3 times. I counted in 3 episodes. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, and then so going on the unpredictable. Everybody always thought, trial by battle or whatever, trial by combat.
Yeah.
And then immediately that's taken off the table. Mm-hmm. And so you have the king basically putting his mother up for death.
Yeah.
He's like, you're kind of screwed now, I'm sorry.
Well, Cersei screwed up. She revealed her hand too soon. Yeah. when they came to take her to the Sept, and she said, "No, I'm not going to the Sept of Baelor." And then, oh, by the way, the mountain is a monster zombie
Right.
killer.
And then once he just rips the dude's head off.
Literally ripped the dude's head off.
And they're like, oh, well, we have no way to defeat this. We'll just get rid of trial by combat. Like,
Right.
You know,
and when you control the king, you can do that.
Yeah, she showed her cards too soon. But when she's talking, are we talking about that now?
Yeah.
Okay, when she's talking to Qyburn, right, and they're inside the throne room, and there's an announcement's being made, and Qyburn says, or she asked Qyburn if he found any more about that rumor, because remember he got Varys' little birds. He's paid off the children, right? So he's got tapped into his network. So what is that rumor? Could it be the wildfire?
Insert graphic.
Hype mode.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if Cersei decides to just burn down King's Landing,
Yeah.
kill them all.
Well,
And,
there
like,
was some
that's her
stuff. There was some
response.
stuff going around about when Bran had his vision or his flashes a few episodes back, and we saw like visions of the Mad King and like, with the wildfire and stuff. And we just assumed that most of that was the past, but there are some people saying there's one shot of like this hallway just being consumed. Like there's this big green flame just coming down the hallway, and that's actually a shot from the future. And since the Mad King never used the wildfire in King's Landing like that, it should be if Cersei used it. That's what actually he was seeing.
Now, how many? Because I know they had a ton of wildfire.
Right.
And then there was the battle at King's Landing where they lit the water lake, or they lit the river on fire, the lake, whatever they lit on fire.
Yeah.
Blackwater.
They lit Blackwater on fire, right? How much wildfire do they have left? Like, do they still have massive stores?
Yeah, I think.
Which I think
Yeah.
they
Because
do.
they said the Mad King was like obsessed with it.
Plus,
Right.
Tyrion made more in like
Yeah.
season 2. Like he's like make more, make all.
Right, yeah.
Everybody work on this.
Yeah.
For wildfire.
All right, so, well, speaking of fire, this is kind of not
Not at all.
Daenerys.
Okay.
Daenerys comes back in the most random,
It felt
dramatic
cheap.
way ever.
It felt so cheap.
Yeah.
And awkward.
Yeah.
It was like these weird conversations where they're talking about jokes. All right, that was
No, okay,
boring.
I loved that part, and I thought that,
Yeah, I
that
kinda
it was
like
a
that
weird
too.
segue to go from these two former
Yeah.
slaves who've never really been able to be human, and then you have like
Alcohol.
Tywin explains to them,
Yeah.
the only reason you don't do this is because your old slave masters told you not to, and that breaks a wall for them. They
Yeah.
realize
Yeah.
how much they still follow their old traditions. And they're like, yeah, I only do this because I was trained to do this. And so it let them kind of break down that wall, which I thought was great because we had that moment a while back, kind of mirrored this one, where they didn't break that wall.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, where I thought it was boring and pointless, but now that you have this, it really makes that scene make a lot more sense.
My biggest issue was that you have the masters are on their ships and they're launching trebuchet or cannons, whatever they're shooting off their ships, right? And
Yeah, they didn't really show them very well because it was so dark.
Yeah, they're bombarding the city, and then you're inside this little room, and then you hear a noise. And, oh, it's Daenerys. Like, really? Like, come on,
Right,
Game
well,
of
that was the
Thrones.
thing
You have a
that-
bigger budget than that.
It's one of those like everything just.
You know how
kind
much money it costs though to show that dragon? I'm sure it costs a lot. Like we just
Yeah, you
showed her
see it
riding
flying
off
away
like
in
two
the
episodes ago.
distance.
Yeah.
We don't
But
need to show
The
her.
thing that killed me though was like you have that moment just kind of occurs out of nowhere. All of a sudden there's like thousands of ships just
Storms
everywhere.
through the door
Yeah.
like, oh, mommy's home, and Tyrion was like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, and then
thank
it's like
God.
they're talking about their battle plan, and you're waiting for some kind of cool moment. Like okay,
Yeah.
who are we gonna be fighting really? And you're hoping for something new, almost, and then it's just or just a cool battle.
Yeah.
And then it's like that one guy bows, and I'm like, what's going on?
Well, they have to save that for the finale.
Well, like you
Yeah.
heard the crunch, and then you heard the steps, and
Yeah.
like the second I heard dunk, dunk, I was like, oh, Daenerys is here.
Yeah.
Like that was a foreshadowing that was really obvious. It just felt cheap.
It just felt too easy.
Yeah.
It just was like, okay, we need to make this.
This the superhero. It felt like something out of Smallville. The doors swing
Right.
open and Daenerys storms in.
Well, okay, so another unpredictable moment was Jamie taking River Run.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
knew that was not.
No, because we talked about this last
But
week.
like we knew it had to happen. Like Jamie
Right.
had to take River Run.
Right, no, but the way he took
The
it.
way he took
the
it
way he took
was-
it was just kind of like, again, it felt a little forced. It was like, okay, we want to do this with no bloodshed, and then they just have this guy go in there and be like, I'm the Lord here, you have to do what I say.
I don't think it was forced. It felt pretty sound to me.
Yeah.
Like it was. He
I
was
didn't
his
like
castle.
it. I was
He the
hoping.
Lord of River Run.
I was hoping that. Okay, I get when him going in is kind of a like Blackfish said. It's like he's got a knife to his throat.
Yeah.
I get that. But then once you're in there and you're surrounded by your men,
Yeah.
like he didn't get inspired by that at all. He was
But
just
they
like,
still,
nope,
they
I'm
still had
still-
his wife and his kid.
Yeah.
So
They,
I
like
mean,
Jamie
they-
just threatened to launch his child from a catapult into the river.
Right.
That's a pretty.
But it's one of those moments where it just was underwhelming. You know what I mean? Like Blackfish last episode says we'll wait 2 years. You know what I mean? So you're kind of waiting for something big.
Yeah.
2 years is a big time, and then it is just kind of like.
I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. No, but I know. But that's the thing is like when you know they're that
Yeah.
prepared, you want something big to come from that, especially when you see all the people outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just kind of a simple, okay, we got it now. And the only person that I know that died was Blackfish. Mm-hmm. But I did love his argument of why he wasn't going to go fight, how he gave Brienne kind of the.
You passed the torch.
Yeah. And I thought that was a great moment. I thought for his character that was a great moment. But that whole part that it was a part of, I thought was just kind of like boring.
It was weak.
Yeah, I predicted Brienne doing what she did. Like, listen, I need to borrow these guys. Don't kill them.
Right.
Just let them help Winterfell, and then
You can have
have the castle.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I was like, it's going to happen. Yes. You know, and then, well, here's the funny thing I noticed about Brienne. You know, she tried to give Jaime his sword back.
Yeah.
And Jaime's like, no, it's yours. Now you keep it. And then Brienne tried to give Blackfish the letter. He's like, no. You keep it. Like, seriously, someone take her damn gifts.
Well, I think the big thing too with her is she's always been more of a servant to things.
Yeah.
And I
She's
like
always failed,
Well,
except
no,
for
but
like
yeah.
once.
But this episode
Always failed.
This episode's really growing her character in the sense of like she's always a person of duty, and now she's gone beyond her duty to where people are like, you know, here, you've earned this, and like you don't need to be following anymore. You can almost do what you want now. And I like how she kind of takes that on. Is like, I think if she stays with Sansa, it's not because of duty as much as this is what I can do. Like she's choosing to do it now. She's not kind of doing it. She feels like she has
That
to.
is true, but and I really like that moment between her and Jaime because I mean you could tell
Yeah.
that there was something there, and if Jaime was like, if I wasn't so into my sister, there's probably a thing.
Right. Well, and that's something I thought of too.
Kindred spirit.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you know that she's very much attracted to him, and they pushed on that so much this episode that every woman finds him attractive.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue of that, but I think with him, he genuinely,
I find him attractive, to be honest.
he genuinely is in love with his sister, as gross as that is. So he won't find another woman attractive, but I think he has affection towards her, and it's one of those things of like, for him, it's probably more of like a sibling relationship that he should have with his sister. But it's that moment, when she's paddling away and he finds her. I think he sees her as almost a family member now.
I loved that intensity between them, and then I loved her conversation with Blackfish. I feel like those two scenes. Prior to that, the most interesting thing about Brienne this season has been Pod.
Right.
Yeah.
and the fact that she had these scenes, kind of okay, Brienne's a character worth like following and rooting for again.
Right.
But Pod is still like when they had that fan service between Pod and
Bronn?
Bronn,
yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
like
that
that
was
felt
awesome.
really good.
Yeah.
Like because he's come a long way from season 2.
Well, and it's neat because
still
you've
in
kind
wine.
of forgotten that they used to all kind of be together.
Yeah.
And it's neat because it is almost like a brother thing with those two, where he's like, yeah, you're learning to fight, but I'm going to show you how to really fight.
Yeah.
And it's nice because that's an affectionate moment where for two guys, hey, I'm going to make you tougher. I'm going to make you better.
You're still alive. You're worthy of my time.
Right.
Is how I saw that. Like,
And
Pod, you
he
survived
pokes
all
at him
this.
like a little brother, saying, "Aren't you getting too old to be a squire?" And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it was very friendly. It was a good moment, especially because, like I said last week, they're really poking into side characters more, and really fleshing out their characters, so where you're like, yeah, I care about
They're
this
making
guy.
it. They're making it so fluffy and feel good. Like Tyrion and Varys had that, that
Right.
goodbye and stuff. And I was like,
When they was
automatically-
leaving, yeah.
And automatically I was like, oh, they're setting up Tyrion to die. But what they're actually doing is they're giving all these little good moments, and then they're gonna rip it away from
Which
us.
is good,
in the next
though.
two
Wait till you rip it
episodes.
apart.
But see, that's the
I
thing.
wanna cry.
Because the whole part of Game of Thrones started out where you knew everybody you liked was gonna die.
Yeah.
And then for a while, a lot of big characters haven't died. And so then it's like, well, we got all these side characters. Well, if you don't want to take out all of your main characters, start making people like your side characters. So when you take them away, it means more.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they're building up.
Well,
And so-
I definitely thought that they were doing something with the actress because we started getting her background.
Yeah.
And then the second she was dead, I was like, oh, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah, Lady Crane.
Well, the only thing in this episode that I felt like wasn't unpredictable was the Arya story, because the biggest thing we had in last week's episode was you and I were talking about, are they done with her now that they think she's dead, or do they know she's still alive? So I'm going to say I was not wrong. You were wrong. I was right. And they knew she was alive, and they were still going after her. And I thought that was really cool how they did it, because it was, like I said, where, they were kind of telling her, we can always find you. And then when she gets most comfortable, again, they show up and they take her.
Yeah, and the only problem I had with that was that, she had recovered maybe for a night.
Right.
And then, the next day, she's jumping off of balconies and running through the street.
But I think that's another character trait for Arya, is that even when she's at her weakest, she will still find a way to pull through. Because you would see her, still
how
holding.
many gut stabs did she take?
Dude. Two. She got stabbed in the guts twice.
Yeah.
Bro, milk of the poppy.
Okay,
Every time.
And she slept, and that's what she said. The only way to heal is to sleep.
Has been like a cure-all in Game of Thrones.
It's like a back to tank for Game of Thrones.
They're good to go again.
The one thing I thought was, I wish it was shortened, was the chase scene.
Yeah.
I love the chase scene.
But like you said, I loved it too, but it did feel really.
I want to know how much of that route was premeditated, because it was obvious she was leading her along. She kept leaving clues to where she was going. But the water splashing on, she was trying to lead her to her little
with
hole.
The blood mark on the door to show to turn.
But the water splashing, you can't predict when somebody's going to throw water, or can you? Does that lady throw water every day at the same time?
Well, here's
part of her.
Here's what I would say though is, I bet because she went in behind that woman, and she turned around and saw the other girl running on the ceiling or the roof later. I think at that point she thought she lost her, and she was still going to the same place.
Right.
But then she sees it, and now she's like, I gotta lead her here because it's the only way I can actually finish this.
Yeah.
So I'm betting that she was always going to the same place. It was just that moment changed the race, where it was now, okay, I need to lead her.
What if the waif doesn't close the door?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of light coming in the room.
Plan foiled. There's still light in the back. Okay, well, I'm still going to put out this candle, so.
It's a little darker now.
Right.
Come at me.
I feel sorry for the fruit baskets too that she destroyed on the way down.
Well, here's what I'll say though about the room. Arya is pretty. I mean, everybody loves Arya, so I'm gonna give her as much credit as possible. So my thought is the candle was probably a last. For us, it was obviously the only way.
Yeah.
But in her mind, it was probably a last minute decision where she realized the door's shut. This is my opportunity. Where before it was probably just gonna be a standoff until she died, and now she's like, wait, I got the upper hand now. And she's smart, so I'm going to assume she was just witty enough to be like, this is the opportunity, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to assume that was part of the plan, even though we all talked about it. I'm still going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
So what about Jaquen? Did he know that she was going to do that?
The Faceless Man?
He hoped. I think he always preferred
always
Arya.
loved her, even before she was even at the temple. You know she liked her, because as soon as she was giving him the names, I think he had this kind of affection towards her where it's like, this girl is something special, and then when she finally was following them, I think it was more of he always saw her best traits, and now he's like, great, I can grow this and
I don't know. It looked like he was trying to wiggle his way out of it there at the end. He's like, oh snap, she's back. She's got a sword behind my back. She snuck up on me, has a sword on me.
I looked at it as almost
so
a
now
Sith
you
moment.
finally become. Oh yes, now you're the one. Yes, now
right.
you're great.
But I kind of saw it as like a Sith moment. And the way I say it is like in the Sith philosophy is you have your apprentices, and the only way to really show you're better is to kill your leader. All right. And so he was picking his apprentice, and that was the whole thing. Was he had them conflicted the whole time.
They were competing.
He was totally doing that. He was pushing it real well. And then he was like, whoever wins, I will take on. And so I think he was ready to take her on, and then she turned it down. I honestly think if she had been like, okay, and killed him, he would almost still be proud, because he's like, look what I've created. You know, she's surpassed what I was hoping.
Would she then become the leader of the Faceless Men? And how many Faceless Men are there?
Right.
We've only ever seen two.
The two. Well, and then you saw the one that died.
Yeah.
And then you're like, who was that one? Where did the other ones come from? Yeah.
They could be anyone.
Well, and that guy always wears
he's a
that.
faithless man.
And that guy always wears that face.
Yeah.
So when you saw
Is
it
that
on
his
someone
face?
else, you saw it on someone else's face when that person got killed.
So maybe it's you're right.
So you're like, who is that person really?
Who is he really?
And then
he's Cersei, because Cersei's everything. Evil.
But I think it was a neat moment of the growth of I think at that point, him seeing how she survived through everything, he would have been fine with her killing him. But I think the fact that she turned it down showed to him that she was even stronger than he expected.
That was like such a rock and roll moment.
Yeah,
She
it
was
was.
no,
It's like a drop the mic moment.
I'm
you know what I
Arya
mean?
Stark.
Like,
I'm going home.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
With that, with that comment,
she
though,
did.
with that
High five.
comment that she says, she's going back to Winterfell.
Yeah.
Everything's going on
Jon
at Winterfell.
Snow.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, what is going to
But how
lead
long
into
is it
this?
going to take her to get to Winterfell? Like, Battle of the Bastards will
Okay,
be over.
everybody
We'll be in, like,
knows
season
all
7.
you got to do is get in some kind of transportation and it takes you a day to go 1,000 miles.
No.
Yeah.
Tyrion took almost an entire season.
Yeah, but look at Littlefinger. That guy's gone back and forth 5 times in like
Yes.
a week.
He has a
It's
subway.
like, hang on, how does this happen? It works the way it needs to. So,
Time's fluid.
Time's
in
fluid.
Right.
Game of Thrones.
all right.
Can I make? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to. Are we good with this episode?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up after
Okay.
this.
Next week's Battle of the Bastards is being directed by Miguel. I can't say his Sapochnik, the same guy that did Hard Home last season. The large battle,
Oh,
the
yeah.
zombie avalanche.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to be the biggest battle to date on
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
It looks-
And I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Or
it
it'll
looks
be like
so-
this week's episode, and it'll build up, and then nothing will happen.
No, you're
Yeah.
wrong.
yeah.
You are
No,
dead
you're
wrong.
wrong.
It's going to be
I just
amazing.
hang on. I just have to say that because last week we predicted so much stuff, and nothing went the way we predicted.
They did like a
so I have to predict the
63-minute
unpredictable
episode
now.
of like nothing this
Right.
week. Well, not nothing, but it was a pretty low key week. But who is going to kill Ramsay? Who's going to kill Ramsay?
Yeah.
Stoneheart.
Lady
Well,
Star.
and here's the
that'd
thing:
be awesome.
is Brienne gonna
That'd
make it back for the battle?
Yeah.
Because she's on a boat right now. She's not on
Yeah,
a
no,
horse.
shit, but, like,
so it
where's-
takes a little longer.
Where's Bran? We haven't seen Bran in 2 weeks.
That's true.
Where's Bran? What's going on with Bran? Is he gonna reach the wall? Like, there's a lot.
Everybody's gonna think Jon Snow's gonna get to the point where he's about to die, and then somebody, whoever it is, Bran or Brienne
Yeah.
or
Arya.
Littlefinger with his or Arya and her fast ways, or Littlefinger with his army, they
Well,
come
quick,
and save
quick
us.
note, real
Save
quick,
him.
just as a thought, just to finish this off. Arya did make a comment when she was still kind of good, talking about to the actress where she was wanting to go next before everything happened. She was talking about Westeros being the edge of the map. Do you think that's kind of foreshadowing something? Because she's
I hope so. I was like, oh, yeah.
Because even if she doesn't go that way, I kind of hope they kind of dive into that. Because when I heard about it, I was like, that's really neat. That's unknown
Yeah.
stuff.
I wanna see
We went
that.
to Dorne. We heard about Dorne, and then we went there, and it was boring.
No, but I want to
but
see
we
like
haven't
what
gone back.
uncharted
Yeah,
territory.
completely like
Yeah.
all the
Not
maps
on the
in at
maps.
Westeros. So it's like, what's beyond Westeros?
Yeah.
Why are they bringing it up?
Yeah.
Why are they making me think about this? I want to see now.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's nothing. I just want to like have a resolution.
If it is
of that.
the literal edge of the world, that would be cool too.
I hope we do get like a 2-minute shot though that just wraps up Dorne.
Right.
Because like I'm ready to find out kind of what happened. I don't really care at all, but they did leave it open-ended, and I hate loose strings.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up on Game of Thrones and go into our next topic. So on to Batman. So everybody knows Ben Affleck is the new Batman, and he is now also set to direct the next solo Batman film. Even though Joey has still neglected to see the Batman vs Superman, we won't give any spoilers on that movie. But
No,
we'll just
you're wrong.
Yeah, he is so wrong. So, but we will discuss
I heard
how we
told me-
feel about his acting and
I loved him as Batman. I didn't like the writing for Batman and Superman. I didn't like the movie because a lot of stuff was forced.
Yeah.
It didn't develop properly.
That's why I haven't seen it yet, because I've heard people save your money.
again. Yeah, but here's the
But,
thing: is
but
like
I like Ben Affleck's directing. He's
Right.
got a great history as a director.
Yes.
I love him acting as Batman. I see good things.
well, that's the thing is like when he got cast, I remember all the people just hating on it. Like Ben Affleck is gonna be a terrible Batman, and I will admit, I immediately was like, sounds like a really weird choice. But then I thought the same thing about Heath Ledger, so I was like, he blew it away. So I'm like, okay, maybe Ben Affleck is the perfect Batman. We just didn't see it, but he is really good. His version in this movie that you haven't seen yet
Yeah.
is really good. But like you said, it did feel a little forced.
I-
So think about solo film that
Well,
he's in charge of.
I love Ben Affleck, the actor, and Ben Affleck, the director. I've been following his career since Mallrats, since Kevin Smith really got him started.
So you're a hipster of Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I'm a hipster of Ben Affleck. Whatever. All right. But Ben Affleck's a solid actor, and he proved that he has range when he played
Right.
Batman.
I mean, you got like
Totally different.
Argo and stuff like
Yeah,
that too, where
I mean,
intense
Gone Girl
moments.
was awesome.
Gone
Yeah.
Girl's amazing.
Gone Girl was
Yeah.
so.
Like,
I
Ben
mean, he
Affleck's
hasn't-
got depth.
I was
He
like,
can
and
go.
he hasn't directing wise either. He hasn't directed a bad movie yet.
No.
And he's acting in all of these movies.
What all has he directed so
The
far?
Town.
The
oh,
Town, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
But okay,
Will
so
Hunting?
here's the
Did he
thing: is
direct
like
Will Hunting?
He didn't direct it.
No.
He
No,
helped
he
write it.
wrote it, yeah.
But
No, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
thank you. I didn't have to do that. All right. But okay, so taking all of his stuff, him being the character now, so you assume, and we've seen, he's got a pretty good idea of how this character's going. So what do you think what do we want to see in his film, and what do you expect to see in a Ben Affleck Batman film?
I don't want to see an origin film. We've seen,
Which he said he's staying away from the origin stuff.
We've seen Michael Keaton do it. You've
Right.
seen
And we've got an
everyone,
older
yeah.
Batman we're working with. Like, this is Batman's been Batman for 15, 20 years.
And they did a dab into the origin with Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
touched it.
So
I like the way they
yeah.
did it. Like, oh, by the way.
It's like, remember that scene you've seen in every Batman movie?
Yeah.
We're going to give it to you again, so we don't have to give it to you in an actual Batman movie.
Yeah.
It's
I want,
like,
I want to see an Arkham Asylum
Oh,
movie.
that'd be good.
Like-
that would be really
I will
good.
say the one
be
thing,
cool.
the one thing no Batman movie has ever done, and that I'm dying for, is the detective movie.
Yeah.
Because he's the world's best detective, and in every movie he does no detective work at all.
That would be great.
And that was the problem
I think
with the
that
Dark
Ben
Knight
Affleck
series.
could direct that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's in
because
right
that's
in
a
his wheelhouse.
psychological intense moment
Yeah.
kind of thing, and him being older would make more sense. That would be less action filled.
Dude, he was so big though.
Right.
I think he was like our biggest Batman to date.
Right, and he
He
looked
did look
great because he
big.
looked
Ben
like
Affleck
a
was small.
straight version out of
Yeah.
the comics.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of giving him the intelligence that Batman deserves, and
Yeah.
not just the fighting ability.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that was the whole thing is with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the last Batman movie, him being taking the mantle, made me want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Because he is a detective. So he would take it as a detective. He wouldn't take it as a street fighter or some dark fighter, shadow
Not
fighter.
just beating information
Yeah,
out of
he
thugs.
would know how to go through a process. And so that's the thing is you really want that kind of movie in my opinion, because for Ben Affleck to take this and then to do his own thing, because he's talking about trying to do an original Batman film. As cliche Batman as a detective thing would be, it's not anything you've seen in a
I don't
movie.
think it's cliche because we haven't seen it.
Well, it's cliche for the character of Batman, but not for the movies.
No,
and that's what I'm saying. Is that way you can do something totally unique to a movie, but still staying completely with the character and not ruining anything.
I think we're going to get a solid film out of it. It's not out of Affleck. It's not going to be like mind-blowing, like new directive art. Like it's not going to be art house. It's not going to be cutting edge. We're going to get especially being both starring in a film and directing it. We're
Right.
going to get something that's very solid. It's going to be planned really well. They'll probably spend a lot of time in
Well,
pre-production.
here's the thought, though.
And then it'll be executed.
And Matt Damon's gonna be in there.
Yeah,
Robin.
him, Batman, David's
Yeah.
Robin. Like that's the only national.
That's the one thing we can count on for certain in a Batman or a Ben Affleck directed Batman movie is Matt Damon will be Robin.
But I think the thing with Ben Affleck stuff is it's all kind of clean. Like all of his films are nice, but the visuals are pretty clean. And I don't have a problem with that. But in a Batman genre,
You look for a darker kind
right?
of
Do you think he'll try to go more Zack Snyder-esque, or
I
will
think
he
he'll
go his own
shoot
route?
clean and we'll get like we'll darken it up in post because
Well,
that's probably
That's what every Zack Snyder movie is. They shoot it clean and then they take all the saturation out.
But I don't think we're going to see like a low saturation film. I think we're going to get a good because they did that with Batman v Superman. Was like they lowered the saturation a little bit. They pulled some of the color out of it. to
Right,
make,
which
like-
because it was Zack Snyder who did Man of Steel, which
and-
he did the exact same
And
thing.
I
about.
did not enjoy it. I did like the movie. Like I really hope they kind of
Right.
separate Batman v Superman and the new solo Batman film. Like create some separation because that movie was so bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
What's funny is like we argued on our way out of the theater about how bad the movie was, and you're slowly coming around.
Well, no, because like we've said, parts of it were really good. Like having Lex Luthor, I thought was
Jesse
actually.
Eisenberg,
I thought
come
no,
on.
hang on, but think about it. I thought he was going to be a ridiculous choice. Psychologically, he's a great character to take Lex Luthor.
But he
and
wasn't
play it that
smart.
Way.
He was just crazy.
I'm just saying, it's one of those where it's really neat to have that kind of moment. But I'm excited to see it because Ben Affleck does
That'd be cool.
really good. I wonder if he's going to kind of take a new twist with this for his other stuff, not for Batman, but
Yeah.
for his stuff.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. You're wrong.
All right.
Always right.
Well, that's it for this week's Know You're Wrong. I'm Colin Buckingham, Joey Skaggs, Jesse Barfield, and Michael Kolb. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and catch us next week on Know You're Wrong.
Always so